Welcome to the overview video of the Arabie Dam HD chart by FishTec. There are some of you that will be using these charts for the first time, and guys, you will need anything from an HDS Generation 2 or an Elite TI. The hook and the eagle range cannot use these charts. It is not compatible. The next thing I strongly recommend is to back up all your waypoints and delete especially the trails. The trails slow your unit down tremendously, especially if you have a lot of them. Those must be deleted. This is just to help the unit with the amount of data that it will be processing. The next thing that will fall under a restore default, I strongly recommend a restore default. And then you can pop your SD card in and let's get straight into it. We're going to go to the chart. I've already placed my cursor over Africa or Southern Africa here. You've got Johannesburg down there. I'm using the Navionics, the built-in Navionics chart. It's a very basic chart, but we're using that as a guideline so we know roughly where we are. We're going to go here, Johannesburg. It's sort of northeast from Johannesburg, up here past Loskop Dam. Some of you know Loskop Dam when you came here in 2019 for the World Fishing Games. Okay. You'll see there's a number of names down the side here. I had already put my card in, but when you put your FishTec card in for the first time, it will say at the bottom of the screen, loading charts. Whatever pops up first, doesn't matter what it is, just say yes. But go back to chart source. I want to go back to this original thing here. This overlay, this is your primary menu. This is your very first menu. This overlay, if you have a FishTec chart in your unit, you never ever turn this on. This is very, very important because most of these things like to write to the card. And when it writes to the card, it'll corrupt the card. There is an issue there. It's not on my side. I use Navico products to build my charts. That's definitely something to do with the writing on the units. So guys, please do not turn anything on there. Leave that as off. You'll see later I talk about photo overlay, but that will fall under this option here, under chart options or view, something along those lines. But like I said, we're going to start off with Navionics. What I suggest is here, let's go to Arabie Dam. There it is there. Okay, and there you're going to have your traditional, well, these aren't the traditional colors, but your traditional contours. I want to point out that the contours in these charts are extremely accurate. None of the contour data here is drawn off websites or GIS servers or anything like that. Every contour here is derived from actual scanned data. But while I say that, please notice the shoreline is taken off Google Earth. These shorelines are taken off Google Earth. We try and find the most accurate one possible, and then the computer does a form of generation from our closest pass to the shore to the actual shoreline from Google Earth. This can sometimes offer some inaccuracies. You will see on the side scan mosaics, the contours that are on the side scan mosaics, there is no interpolation taking place there. In other words, there's no computer generation. So that data will be very, very accurate. We go to our more options. We go to chart options. Some of you will have to use view, something along those lines. And you can, this photo overlay, you put that onto full, and you'll get a satellite behind your colored imagery. You'll notice with the Arabie Dam, there is something different here. You'll see that it looks like there's two charts, one behind the other, and you're exactly right. Basically what I've done is I've taken an old government sediment chart, which is a survey chart by the government before they built the wall, and I've put that in the background, and then I've taken a colored shaded relief and I've made it transparent and put that on top of it. which I think will offer those of you who like your paper charts. This will really make it a lot easier to actually read the chart, other than just having a plain white chart. There are the contours on top. If you don't like the contours on top like that, you can go to your categories and you can turn the lines off, and then you'll have that. Then you'll just have the color transparency over the old paper charts or the old sediment charts. The shaded relief, you will have to go to land only, like that. Go here, go to your categories, turn your lines on, and there's your shaded relief. Those of you who like to use the shaded relief, that's where it is there. As you can see, there's multiple charts within a chart. The satellite is very much like what you just saw previously, but it's just a satellite with the contours on top of it. Again, photo overlay full. This is a very, very popular option here. If you go full, if you go land only, it will leave the color isobaths on top. This is a nice tool to use if you're highlighting a depth range, but we're not going to get into that in this video. I suggest using full here when you're planning, so when you find something of interest, you can zoom in on it and see exactly what that depth range is. Keep in mind, we do not have depth correction here at Lawrence. You would need to get onto the water, find a nice flat section, not a steep drop off, see what the depth is on your 2D fish finder, and then do a compensation for the first day when you get onto the water to compare the 100% mark, because these depths here were taken at 100% compared to what the level is when you arrive at the dam. If the dam is 100%, you don't have to do any compensation. But if the dam level has dropped slightly, it will be after winter, you will have to do a compensation there. Okay, the next one. There's so much to show you. There's so much more to show you, but I'm not going to do it. We're going to break that down in later videos. The next one we're going to, you'll see I've included what we call a C map here. Cool. The reason why I've done this is because many of you are used to this color palette. And if you have a familiarization issue, just getting used to the charts, and you just want to do something that you're comfortable with, this is where you can start. Just taking that first step going towards a FishTec HD chart. So you can use this one first. Just remember, you have to turn the photo overlay onto full. I've even put a Navionics on here for those of you who like and know the old Navionics system. Again, you can go to your chart options over to give it that sort of shade. That's typically your Navionics contour chart with a blue shading. Again, it's just on there for a form of familiarization. Now we get into the nitty-gritty. Ultra HFN. This is all your side scan mosaics. And you'll see something else pops up. All these tiny little numbers all along the edge of the dam. Again, you're going to go back. Remember, you have to do this for each chart. You turn the photo overlay onto full. And what you've got now is you've got all your side scans, but only in the depths that you'll be fishing. You'll see it only goes out to 50, 54 feet, somewhere from 45 feet is generally our cutoff. We have found for this dam, anything past that, you don't need a side scan for. So everything up to that sort of depth range has been covered. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of it, but you guys will see the detail on these charts is just phenomenal. You can see all the fish shadows. You can see it's the perfect passes. You will notice with the FishTec chart on the side scan mosaic, we don't scan both left and right for the deep water. This is very confusing and it doesn't look right. The reason for this is shadows work very, very well. If you were to take a torch, for example, and shine it down a ladder or some steps, you'll see perfect shadows all the way down. But when you take that same light and you try and shine back up the steps or the ladder or whatever, it becomes very confusing and the shadows are not very good at all. And that's why we only do this in one direction, except for the first pass, which is to the shoreline, because we obviously can't get the boat up into the shore there. So keep that in mind. We call that Shadow Max technology. The other thing that you'll notice with our charts, any of you that have done any side scanning yourself or the built-in side scanning will know there's that terrible area directly beneath the boat that just becomes like a blur. And the reason why it does that is because there's no shadows. This region is called the nadir region. And this nadir region is absolutely useless and has no business being on any chart ever. You could drive literally over the most important thing on the body of water and you won't see it. So we remove that, and we remove a good few meters. We remove between 5 and 7 meters of this useless region beneath the boat. And this is to maximize those shadows. And again, leads to Shadow Max technology by FishTec. And this is unique to FishTec. As far as I know, we're the only ones doing it in the world. And then, of course, you've got your very accurate contours on top of that. The areas that are covered, there's the northern area, then here at Skanes Dry Cove, it cuts off, so you'll go back, and then you'll go to your the south section 2025, again, back, chart options, photo overlay full, there it is there, goes all the way down. Okay, here, because now we're getting shallower and shallower, we'll get more of a coverage where it's very likely to find fish now out closer to the channel. So that is completely scanned. All the way down here to Spookbomer and to the nature reserve, it cuts off there. And then the last one is the river. This is a 2022 scan of Arabie. There it is there. And you can see our coverage goes all the way around Croc Island, Elands River, and all the way up the Olifants River. All the way. Paradise Rocks. All the way up. You can see where we were forced to stop here with our scanning. We still have photographs. There's about 1,400 photographs all around the dam. And these photographs will give you an aerial view of every part of the dam, right around the entire dam. And these photographs are fantastic. It can be a little bit time consuming tapping on each one, tapping on the number, saying image open. So what I suggest you do in a case like this, you'll see these photos are broken up into the various zones between north, south, and river. So what you do is you can hit your pages button, you can go to storage, go to the actual card, and you'll see there's photos. So in this case, we're down at the river. We'll tap on river, and we'll say view. This is a PDF. This just helps you get through the photographs that much quicker. So I suggest zooming in once. The resolution on these is not as good as the access directly on the chart, but what it does is you can flick through them quite quickly. You'll see there is a little bit of a delay, but we managed to speed it up a bit by reducing the quality of the image. I think we reduced them to about 640 by 480, whereas the images on the chart themselves is a 1920 by 1080. So even if you're using something like a Pro 16 or a Live 16 or a Carbon 16, it's still going to look fantastic when you zoom in. The other nice thing is if you saw on the chart, for example, there was number 185, that was good. You can just go to page 185, and there's the photograph there. You can also work backwards. You find a good photograph here, on the PDF and just check the number and then find that number on the chart, and you can target it there. Guys, for now, that is your introductory video to the Arabie chart. I have not gone into great detail, but I will go into more detail in the various charts in later videos. Thanks for watching.